What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another video. Hey, so I wanted to create a video on a little bit more psychology, a little bit more touching on like rules, touching on parameters, and different things like that. And I think that having a list of rules is super important in trading, and I've seen so many traders fail because they can't stick to their rules, so having a list of rules and parameters is a huge ordeal. For instance, if you're just trading just out of the hip, right? Like just like off the hip, like just taking random trades, you're never going to be able to have any kind of focus. You're not going to have any kind of, really direction on what's working and what's not, so you kind of, rules are kind of a way to like basically test the waters and see like what works and what doesn't work. It's like trial and error, so to speak. Having a set of rules, not trading the first 5-minute rule, having entry rules, I only get involved if this and that. Having more rules, the better, I can kind of go through and show you some of my rules. So here's my rules right here. I don't mind sharing these with you guys. So basically, trading rules, here's my steps to looking for the setup that I look for, my particular setup and strategy. Criteria, I have criteria and entry criteria rules. Is the target worth the risk? Each one of my trades, I believe, for me personally, should at least have the potential to make 3R. That way I'm more confident that I can at least get a couple of 2R scales out. I always have to have a risk level. Where is my risk going to be on the trade that I'm about to take? There's been many times in the past where I'm sure you've experienced it too, where you just get into a trade and you don't even know what your risk level is, right? You just buy shares and you don't even know how much you're risking, right? And that goes into the second criteria for me is your share size correct in comparison to your risk? Meaning, if I'm risking, $200 in one trade, well, then and I'm risking 10 cents, then I better be able to buy the right amount of shares to make it so where I'm not risking more or less than that, right? So calculating the right amount of shares and not just jumping into something on just a random amount of shares is a big one too. Because there's been many times where, for instance, I've gotten into a stock and I've bought in like way oversized. Like it's way oversized, and it's like all of a sudden I'm like committed now. I'm like, I'm already, down this much and this and that, and it's like way outside my risk parameters, and it's like totally just having that rule right there as alone can save your ass. Like making sure no matter what that you always have the same amount of risk per trade, right? And then I have extension rules. This one is if you cut half. Like for me, like if a stock pops and then drops right down to my entry, I always usually just cut half just to be like get save my ass, protect my downside. Because if a stock pops and then drops right back into my entry, then it's most likely less of a likelihood of a breakout going to really go crazy. I mean, there's times where it pops, comes to my entry, I cut half, and then it bounces and then continues to go up. But that's why I only cut half, so I can at least have some shares left for the move. But what happens is, so with this right here, it says if you cut half on the retest, you must not re-add. Let the trade go, there will be more. So like what would happen is I'd cut half, and then I'd re-add it, thinking it was going to pop, and then it's just like a vicious cycle. It's more like just let the trade go, even if it, don't try to re-add and try and be some kind of crazy this and that, But yeah, so here's a couple of my rules. Focus on risk reward, risking the low 5-minute entry candle, high a day levels, invalid if broken, and pre or previous days after hours, which is kind of something that is proprietary to my system. Entry candles should have opened above the 5-minute 9. They should have opened above the 15 to 60. It's not an indefinite rule. Must be above VWAP. Never re-add after selling, which kind of goes into this one I already had touched on. Stay away from 3 green 5-minute candles, meaning if it's just 3 green 5-minute candles in a row, it's usually a sign of a need of a pullback, so there's no reason to really get involved there. And then also, having a trailing stop after 2R, so like if I hit 2R and then it goes up to like 2.5 and it didn't quite get my 3R scales, and then it comes back down to my 2R scale spot, then maybe just consider trailing and cutting it there and just locking in 2R no matter what. So, and then track every rule violation and all that good stuff. So anyway, so those are my rules, and I highly recommend that you getting rules. Create rules that make sense to you. Create rules around your system, your parameters, your setups, and the more rules you have, the more likely that you're going to be honed in. You're going to be more disciplined. You're going to be, just doing better. You're going to have much more structure in your trading. And every time I ask someone that's not profitable, they're having problems, I'm like, do you have a set of rules? And a lot of times they say no. So I think that having a set of rules is a big attribution to gaining into that profitability. And so having a set of rules, having a trade plan is also a big one. That it's rules, trade plan, it's all the same. But making sure you have a solid ass trade plan before you enter a trade. That is so huge. I've been, and the reason why I touch on this is I've done this in the past too. You just blindly get into a trade. You're not really focused on what the parameters are, the rule, your share size, and all that good stuff. So having a trade plan, having rules, guys, so critical in trading. Have your targets set. Where are you going to sell? Where are you going to enter? I was talking to a buddy of mine not long ago. He was like holding shares, and he was in this. He's an investor. He got in on a clean spark, and it was like hella low. And then it spiked this crazy squeeze. He didn't sell anything, and now it's already back down to his entry. And I'm like, bro, did you have a plan? Did you, you can always sell half. You don't have to sell the whole thing if you think it's going to go higher. Piece out the position, But anyway, having a plan like that, scale plans, sell targets, risk, all that stuff, super important. Professional traders, that's what they do. They have their rules and they have their parameters set. So anyway, guys, just a quick one. Gonna wrap it up there. And yeah, thanks for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. If you have any questions, drop them below. You can also join our Discord chat room as well. We're in there all the time. So anyway, guys, thanks for stopping by. Talk to you later. See you in the next one.